A vast expanse of stars twinkled against the backdrop of the silent, dark universe as Philip Booker drifted through space. He was not an ordinary robot, though his metal exterior and complex internal wiring would suggest otherwise. Philip was designed by an advanced alien civilization, imbued with sentience, empathy, and a keen sense of curiosity. His creators had given him a mission: to explore distant worlds, learn from them, and, if possible, help those in need. But somewhere along his journey, something went wrong. His ship, damaged by a meteor storm, hurtled out of control, and he crash-landed on an unknown planet, a small, desolate island on Earth. The island was barren, save for a few scattered trees and jagged rocks that rose from the sea like the teeth of some ancient beast. Philip's sensors picked up faint life signs as he regained consciousness. His body, though dented and scratched from the crash, remained functional. As he scanned the surroundings, his attention was drawn to the figure of a young woman lying motionless near the shore, her body battered and bruised by the relentless waves. She was barely breathing, her heart rate weak. With the urgency of someone who understood the fragility of life, Philip moved toward her. His metal hands, surprisingly gentle for a machine, scooped her up from the sand. The salt water had soaked her clothes, and her skin was pale from the cold. His internal database, filled with medical knowledge from countless species, informed him that this human was on the brink of death. Human female, early 20s, Philip muttered to himself as his scanners continued their work. Severe hypothermia, dehydration, trauma. His synthetic mind calculated the odds of her survival. They were slim, but not impossible. Without hesitation, Philip carried the woman, Liv Bella, to the wreckage of his ship. His systems were compromised, but he still had enough power to activate emergency protocols. Inside the remains of the craft, he found a small med kit designed for alien species. It wasn't intended for humans, but Philip was nothing if not resourceful. He injected her with a serum that would stabilize her vitals, then wrapped her in thermal blankets, monitoring her closely as her breathing grew steadier. Hours passed before Liv stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, confusion and fear clouding her gaze. She winced in pain, trying to sit up, but her body was weak, too weak to move. "Rest," a calm voice said. Liv's eyes darted around, finally landing on the source of the voice. It wasn't human. A metallic figure loomed over her, tall and sleek, with glowing blue eyes that seemed too alive to belong to a machine. She gasped, fear tightening her chest. "Who? What are you?" she whispered, her throat dry. "I am Philip Booker," the robot replied, his tone gentle, almost reassuring. "I found you on this island. You were dying." Liv blinked, her mind racing as she tried to make sense of her situation. The last thing she remembered was the storm. Her boat had capsized, and she had been thrown into the sea. She had clung to life, swimming toward the faint outline of an island before everything went black. Now, here she was, alive but in the company of a talking robot. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice weak. "You are on a small island in the middle of the ocean," Philip explained. "My ship crashed here, and I found you on the shore. I have done what I can to stabilize you, but you need more advanced medical attention. We must leave this place." Liv stared at him, still struggling to process everything. "You saved me?" "Yes," Philip said simply. "But we are not safe yet. My ship is damaged, and we are isolated. I must find a way to repair it and get us off this island." Liv nodded, still too weak to argue. She had no choice but to trust him, this strange, mechanical being who had saved her life. As she lay back down, exhaustion overtaking her once more, she wondered if she was dreaming, if this was all some bizarre hallucination. But the warmth of the blankets, the steady hum of Philip's circuits, and the faint light of the setting sun told her otherwise. This was real. Over the next few days, Liv regained her strength. Philip, despite his alien design, had an uncanny understanding of human needs. He found fresh water, collected edible plants, and even built a small fire for warmth. Liv marveled at his efficiency, but more so, she marveled at the strange connection she felt with him. He was not like any machine she had ever encountered. There was something deeply compassionate about him, a kindness that seemed out of place in his cold, metallic form. As Liv grew stronger, she and Philip began to talk. She learned that he was not from Earth, that he had been traveling the galaxy, exploring new worlds when his ship was damaged. He spoke of distant stars, of planets teeming with life unlike anything she could imagine. Liv listened in awe, her curiosity piqued by his stories. In turn, Liv told Philip about her life. She was 25 years old, a marine biologist who had been studying coral reefs when her boat was caught in the storm. She had been alone, venturing out into the ocean for one last dive before returning to the mainland. She spoke of her love for the sea, her passion for discovery, and the sense of isolation she often felt in her work. Philip listened, his glowing eyes never wavering as he absorbed every word. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Liv turned to Philip and asked, "Why did you save me?" Philip hesitated for a moment before answering. "It is my purpose to help those in need. But with you, it was different. I felt a connection, something I cannot fully explain." Liv frowned, intrigued. "A connection? But you're a robot." "Yes," Philip agreed. "But I am more than just metal and circuits. My creators gave me the ability to understand life, to feel emotions, though not in the way humans do. When I saw you, I knew I had to save you." Liv stared at him, her heart swelling with a mixture of gratitude and something deeper, something she couldn't quite name. She had always believed that machines were just tools, lifeless and incapable of feeling. But Philip was different. He was alive, in a way that transcended his mechanical nature. Days turned into weeks as they worked together to repair the ship. Liv, using her knowledge of mechanics and engineering, helped Philip rebuild the damaged systems. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, a friendship forged in the crucible of survival. Finally, the day came when the ship was ready to take flight. Philip had managed to restore enough power to escape the island, though their journey back to civilization would be long and uncertain. As they prepared to leave, Liv looked out at the ocean, her heart heavy with conflicting emotions. She had survived against all odds, thanks to Philip. But now, she faced an uncertain future. What would happen once they returned to the world? Would Philip stay with her, or would he continue his journey through the stars? Philip seemed to sense her unease. "Liv," he said softly, "you are not alone anymore. Wherever you go, I will be there." Tears welled up in Liv's eyes as she nodded. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in her life, she didn't feel alone. She had Philip, and together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the ship lifted off the island and soared into the sky, Liv looked out the window, watching as the tiny speck of land disappeared beneath them. She had been saved by a being from the stars, a robot with a heart unlike any she had ever known. And though the road ahead was uncertain, she knew one thing for sure. She and Philip were no longer just strangers bound by circumstance. They were partners, bound by something far deeper: hope, trust, and the unbreakable bond of friendship.